knitting, everybody. My name is Karla and you've reached my FlossTube channel, KarlaBeingCrafty, where I talk about mostly cross stitch and crochet and machine knitting now, but also other crafts that I enjoy and a little bit of life thrown in. So today is Sunday, October 19th. This is FlossTube number 302. And I want to say welcome. If this is your first time finding my channel, I hope that you like what you see. Want to hit like and subscribe and all of the good stuff. And if this is not your first time finding my channel, if you are one of my regular viewers, thank you so much for coming back and sharing this time with me. So I did miss doing a video last week. There was nothing terribly wrong. I just wasn't feeling it. I just didn't feel great that day. I pretty much laid around all day in my nightgown. It is what it is. I had another day this week. Friday, I woke up with a massive headache in the morning. Got up at my normal 6:30 time, texted my boss to say I wasn't going to come in, and went back to sleep around 7 and slept until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it is my belief that if my body is able to sleep that much, that it must have needed it. So, you know, the weather's changing, that messes with all kinds of stuff, but the thing I do have to report is that in this past 2 weeks I have actually done a lot of crafting, and in fact I did to a certain extent. My stitchy bug is starting to kind of, you know, poke its head back up out of the ground where it has been hiding, and I did, you know, do some stitching. I had the desire to stitch, and I pulled out some projects and I did work on some stuff. So I have a lot of stuff to show you today, which means it's probably going to be a slightly, you know, longer video, or at least longer than the last couple ones I've done. And let's get into it. Oh, before I do show you stuff though, I do want to report that Hudson received his birthday present doggy that I had crocheted, and he loved it. He made a point of telling me several times that no, he didn't like it. He loved it. It's perfect. It looks, you know, just like his dog. It's exactly what he wanted. You know, the hyperbole was going really strong, but I do believe he was sincere, and I'm glad that I made it for him, and it's something that he will have for a long time. And he said he was glad that I used the brown color and not a darker color, because they think of her as brown, not black, even though she's really dark. And yeah, so he was very, very happy with it, which made me feel good that I took the chance and did something that I was, you know, I went outside of my comfort zone for. I don't mind going outside of my comfort zone with crafting, but when you're giving it to someone, that's a little bit more difficult. But I did it, and he loved it, and so I'm glad. So I just want to let you guys know that he was very, very happy with it. Okay, so, you know, I might as well just get into what I worked on, because as I said, you know, I have 2 weeks worth of stuff to show you, and I did craft almost every day. I don't think I crafted every single day of those 14 days, but almost every day. So yesterday, I did go ahead and make 2 more beanie hat, you know, double-walled hats on the knitting machine, using the scarfy yarn that I got specifically for that purpose. The first one I made, I showed you guys before, was this one, which I had some scarfy left over from another project, and I made this with my brother in mind, because my brother's always loved red. Now his son's like red too, and the other 2 I made are not red, so they're gonna have to fight over them. But this is the first one I made, and the scarfy yarn, even though it's listed as a 5, what 5 is considered bulky, excuse me, yeah, 5 bulky. You're not supposed to be able to use bulky yarn on the knitting machine, but this particular 5, I don't think it's a very big 5. It's a thin 5, and it really actually worked up like a dream. It's scarfy yarn, and it is 78% acrylic and 22% wool, which I thought would be good to make beanies, you know, because they do live in Michigan where it gets cold. So I made this pretty green black one, and I don't even know, I hope the green is there. The green is showing. This one, it's almost a little bit more subtle with the way the color goes, and just like the other one, they are reversible, so, you know, I think this side maybe gives you a little bit more mottled of a look. There, that's the green. But I think I like it this way best. So this is a green and black one. The color is called Forest Black. Forest/Black. So that's that one. And as you can see, I mean, it made such a nice knit. And feels really nice. And then I made the other color I made. Is the label sitting here? Oh, I don't see the label. Of course, on the floor. This one is called Charcoal Aqua. And if you turn it inside out, you're going to have more of the blue, but I do like it this way so that when you do the turn up, you get that nice gray. Yeah, I really like the way that these came out. So much so that I went online and I got a little bit of a heavier, I think I got a 4, not a 5. Because I'd like to try and make a top using a slightly heavier knit. I just think that the knit came out really, really nice. Okay, Lorraine just got home, and so she was saying hi to me, so I put it on pause for a second. But anyway, yeah, so I just am really happy with the way that the knitting looks on that, with this, you know, with this particular yarn. Now I didn't order, because I was thinking maybe I should just order the scarfy yarn and make a top out of that. But because it is wool, 22% wool, I don't know if that would feel good like against my top, you know, skin as a top. Like, I think it'd be really comfortable to wear as a beanie and definitely warm, but I just don't know how it would, if it would be itchy as like a top. So I got a cotton blend yarn to try. I'm really happy with the way these look. And I mean, I have no call to wear something like that here in California. I mean, we had a big rainstorm last week, but it was one day of rain. Now it's like back up to 80. So yeah, I don't really have a reason to wear that. What you doing, Sammy? What you doing? Sammy's visiting me. I wish I could lift him up to show you guys, but he's a little bit too heavy for that. He's a little too heavy. He likes to come in here and scope out Delilah's toys, and then he steals her puff balls and tears them up on the couch and gets yelled at. But he does these like reconnaissance missions where he comes into the room and looks around when he knows I'm watching him and doesn't take anything, and then he'll sneak in and grab something when Lauren and I aren't paying attention. He's very, very clever about it. But when he's in here too and Delilah sees him, then she'll chase him out of the room because she knows he's going to take her toys. Anyway, it's like having children, you know? Okay, so I did that on the knitting machine. The other thing that I worked on, which I don't know if this actually counts as a knitting machine because actually the part I worked on was crochet, but it is a knitting machine project, and it is my Rainbow Universe XL top that I'm working on. And I am on the band part at the bottom, the crochet band. So nothing super exciting. I just got more done on this. This part just takes forever. So it's gonna be a little while before it's done and I can wear this. But I think it is gonna be really pretty when it's done. So I'm about halfway done on the bottom band. And see, this knit is a lot more open. But again, this is a number Okay. Here's the thing. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, 3. It's a 3 light rather than a 5 bulky. So, so yeah, I'm very intrigued to try just a little bit of the thicker yarn for a top. Okay, so I did work on that. And then the other thing that I worked on that was for stuff for the knitting machine, but wasn't really knitting machine stuff, is for the scarf that I'm making for Stacy. I made the pink scarf, you know, which is just this big long tube, but it does need something to zhuzh it up. And so I made a bunch of pom-poms. They haven't been trimmed or anything yet, so they aren't as smooth as, you know, you might want a pom-pom to be. But I just basically made pom-poms using the rest of the cake that I had. And then I doubt I'm going to use all of these on the scarf, but I will have to see what looks good. And most of them are solid or pretty solid color. But then I have a few that just the way that it worked out are multicolored. And I kind of think I like those. So as I said, they haven't been trimmed. But I spent one evening making pom-poms, and I did use a pom-pom, my little pom-pom machine, which the one I used I think is in the other room, but this is a bigger size. So when I was a kid, I used to make pom-poms by, you know, cutting 2 circles of, or 2 donuts of like cardboard, and then, you know, you'd wrap and wrap and wrap, but you have to have the yarn small enough to get through the hole. The thing that's nice about these is you don't need that. So what you do is you open up one side and you wrap the yarn until it's pretty much flat in the middle, right? And then you do the other side. And then you tie it. And then you pull the whole thing apart. Or you cut it. You have to cut the... Second step is you cut, then you tie, and then you can pull the whole thing apart, and it makes pom-pom. So that's kind of a nifty little thing. I got a set of them on Amazon. I mean, this was, I don't know how much it was. It was quite a while ago. I'm sure it was like $10 or under. And I got a set of 4 sizes. So this is the biggest, then the size that makes these. And then this and this. And so you can make smaller ones. Again, these are kind of crappy. These are sort of test things, and I didn't do a very good job with either one of those, but it gives you an idea of the smaller puff balls. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the extras, because I, as I said, I don't think there's any way that I will be using all of these puff balls on the scarf. I mean, maybe, but they're pretty cool. And this, of course, was using mandala the mandala cake in Cupid. Okay, next, as I said, I actually got a little bit of my stitchy bug back, and I worked on 3 projects this last couple weeks. So I did work on my Autumn Equinox Pixie. which is a Bella Filipina. And that is the full picture so far. Now she's done, the top is done. I did change her skin color on this. It wasn't originally, that wasn't my original plan, but once I tried, I put her first arm in using the Call for Colors, and it just matched the background fabric, which I love so much, and it was like, no, it doesn't look good, so I need to darken her skin tone. So I used the chart from Lord Libidan, and I used like the next group of colors to make a darker skin, and I did the whole arm again after I pulled out the arm, which is not easy to do, right? Nice tight stitches taking out a whole big section. So I did the whole arm again, and I still didn't like it. It still was too light, so third time's the charm, and I found the right colors. But I think her face is just so pretty. Let me just show you that really quick, even though I didn't work on the face at all, but she's just gonna be way gorgeous. And I started beating her a little bit because I just couldn't wait. But actually what I worked on this past couple weeks was the bottom of her skirt. Right here. So, yeah, the colors in this are just so pretty. Like, and it's funny because I'm not big on like oranges and yellows and stuff, but I love the magentas and the pinks, and it just all looks so pretty together. So that is one of the projects that I worked on. It was funny because it's like when I was in the height of my cross stitching feelings or whatever, I would go to work and I would think all day about what did I want to work on that evening. And I haven't had that feeling in quite a while. As you guys know, I've been very busy at work and just really exhausted when I got home from work, and I just haven't felt like stitching. But last week I got up in the morning, and actually I was watching Julie Stitching in the Cabin had a new video out, and we haven't seen her in quite a while because she's been super busy. And something about watching Julie made me got that bug, you know, going. And when I went to work that day, I was like, I'm thinking about cross stitch. I think I'd like to stitch something. So when I come home that night, I grabbed it and I went with it, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So that was good. And then last weekend I spent all Saturday stitching on this one, which is Ella, the Frog Princess, which is a Mirabilia. There is my picture. I'm sure you guys have all seen her, but whatever. And if you're somewhat new to my channel, you'll know that I was having some struggles with this because I wasn't loving my fabric. And the problem is that although I love, Frog Princess is one of my favorite fairy tales. That and Rapunzel, I think, are my two sort of favorites. And so I love it, but it's huge. It's got a huge dress, and the flowers make me really happy, but I realize like the dress itself is like colors that I really don't love working with, the yellows and the beiges and stuff. And so I was struggling, and I came up with a solution because I saw this sitting here, which is, it's actually meant to be like a working hoop, but it doesn't work. It doesn't hold your fabric tight at all. But I've had this for 5-6 years, ever since I started stitching, because I thought, ooh, square hoops, cool. And then I got this set, and they're terrible. But what I've ended up doing is I've used all these hoops as like finishing pieces. And so I saw this one sitting there because it was yellow and big, and it was like, and I put it around the stitching that I had done already, and I realized that I could do sort of like the cameo of this instead of like the full dress, and then I'm almost done. So I'm adding flowers at the bottom, like the first row of flowers that's in the dress, I'm doing those, and then I'm adding a few more flowers down here. I'm pulling like the second row of flowers and pulling some of them up here, and then I'm almost done. So this is how far she is, but you know, she's gonna be finished. Ouch. Like that. I don't know if you guys can see the line that I made to mark where the hoop will go, but so I'm almost done. And I worked on the skirt, so I filled in a ton of this part down here, and I worked a little bit on the flowers. Like I said, this is the flowers as written, and then I'm adding some more flowers here to just kind of fill in the bottom. And then I need to finish her arms, which are 1/1, and then beading. So yeah, so she's very close to being done. And color-wise, the only change I made is sometimes on memorabilia's, the skin is like paler than pale. It's like ridiculously pale. And in fact, the palest color used in the skin was actually white. So I changed that color. I left the white for when it's used in the dress, but when it was used in skin, I changed it to a slightly peachier color. Yeah, I don't even know if on camera you're gonna be able to see the difference. This is the white, and then this is the color that I used in the skin, which is still, I mean, that's nowhere near an actual person's skin color, but it's a highlight color, so. Yeah. And then the third project that I worked on, I worked on this twice last week. And it is, do I even have the full picture to show you? Where is it? Oh, I need to do some organizing here. I'm sure it's over here somewhere. I cannot reach it. It is the Linen Place All Hallows Eve. This is one of my oldest whips. I started this in 2019 when I first started stitching. And so it's on All Hallows Eve, my ghoulie gave to me 12 spiders spinning, 11 werewolves howling, 12 snakes slithering, 9 witches brewing, 8 ghosts hunting, 7 bats in a belfry, 6 monsters marching, 5 glowing pentagrams, and then yeah, and then it goes from there. So I'm down to the 5 pentagrams that I have are going to be these wire stars that I've had forever. I got them when I was into beading, and they're gonna work really perfectly. So the stars are supposed to be there. There is a pattern for them to stitch them, but in the original they were big buttons. And then I realized I had these, and I thought that would be really cool, so I'm going to use those. When I first started stitching, this was almost like a test stitch to try new to me at the time threads. So there's glow in the dark in this. I have glow in the dark in the Moon, and in the skeleton that I worked on this past week, I had Whisper thread that I used in the little werewolf. Did not use it correctly really, and it's kind of matted and doesn't have its best self, but I learned from that. I used satin thread in the snake, and I used Etoile in the ghost, and sparkly threads in here. So yeah, and this is fun to do. I don't know why it's taking me so long. I just pull it out every year, sort of towards the end of the year, and you know, do a motif or two. So I've been working on the skeleton, which the white in the skeleton is also glow in the dark. And then what's left? Words 4, 3, 2, 1, and then there's a vulture on a branch over here, and I think that that's it. I think that is it. Let me see. I think the pumpkins are at the bottom. We got 4 thirsty vampires, 3 bony skeletons, 2 jack-o'-lanterns, and a vulture in a gnarly oak tree. So yeah, so I just have to finish the skeleton and the vulture and the words, and that's it. So, but you know, it's intricate sort of stitching because it's all backstitched. All the little motifs are backstitched. And I basically pulled threads for each one. I mean, I completely used my own colors and whatever, but each little motif has been really cute and fun. So I think I would like to work on this a little bit more this week and see how far I can get. But yeah, it was nice to stitch again. As I said, I have just not had the desire lately, and I feel like it broke through a little bit, which was great. Okay, then crochet. Ouch. So with crochet, I have 2 sort of whips that you're familiar with, just to show you progress. Although with this, it's not so much showing you progress, it's just telling you I worked on a couple more of the Flower Power granny squares. And you know, I think I've said this before, but it's worth repeating because I know with the, what is this stuff called? God, words. Red Heart Super Saver. So Red Heart Super Saver is pretty scratchy. Everybody knows that. But the Flower Power, some people have said, you know, yeah, it's scratchy like Red Heart normally. The pink, this particular colorway is not scratchy. This one is nice and soft. Now the other one that I'm kind of doing at the same time because I want to make a jacket with it, this one is more scratchy. But the pink really isn't. So most of the people that I saw that reviewed this originally when it first came out were doing this one. I don't know if that's just because this is one of the more vibrant colors, and I think it actually, this is one of the more successful or most successful of the colorways, just in the way it looks. This one is really cute, but the pink daisy, I wish they had switched it. I wish they had put the dark pink on the petals and the light pink in the middle, because it just, the pink and the white are just a little bit too close in color. I think it's gonna look fine in you know, when the garment is finished, but you know, anyway. So I did do a couple of these one night when I was, you know, just wanted to kind of do something mindless, although I hadn't done it in a while, so I did have to look at the instructions again, but then it came right back. So anyway, so I worked on that one, and then I worked on my Hexagranny cardigan, which I've shown you guys before. Still not very exciting because it's still not that big, but I did more of it. And this is a reminder, this is, I'm using Crone Simply Soft paints in the color Rose Garden. I always want to say Monet's Garden, but it's Rose Garden. And I guess it makes me think of Monet's Garden. And I'm using a Prim hook, which for whatever reason I'm liking with this yarn. Oops. Oh no. Okay, I think burnt out, or it's too hot. So the rest of the video is gonna be dark. Oh well. Anyway, so I'm using this crochet hook with it, and I'm liking it. It's kind of interesting and different. Okay, and then the other two crochet projects I have to show you. So as I said last Sunday, I wasn't feeling great, and I was laying around watching TV, but I wanted to do something, and I wanted to do something new and different. And I was looking on my little cabinet thingy, or it's actually a CD holder, but I have it up on my dresser and it's holding yarn. And I saw two skeins of Woolies Thick and Quick that I had sitting up there that I had no project in mind for. And I had another skein of Woolies Thick and Quick in Cranberry. So the two that were up there were, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like kind of the cream color with the gold thread. And then I had a skein of Cranberry Thick and Quick that I originally got because I wanted to crochet a beanie for my brother, but then I made this one. So yeah, so that wasn't really needed anymore. So I'm like, okay, I have this Thick and Quick, what can I do with it? And the other thing that I wanted to use is that I had bought this number 15 crochet hook, right? Giant metal crochet hook, and I just really wanted to make something with this. So I looked at some patterns and whatever, and I ended up, of course, I had to get more yarn. It's coming, but I decided to make a blanket using the Thick and Quick. And of course, you can't see the really, no, it's not gonna go on. All right, well, anyway, so this was a whole skein of the Thick and Quick, and this is a whole skein of the Cranberry, and then I start on my second skein, and I'm just making a big heavy Woolies blanket, and it will fit on my bed if I wanted it to be for that, or I think it's gonna be really pretty. And I mean, the colors were dictated by what I had, so I know it's a little bit like candy cane is what it, peppermint is what it makes me think of. I don't know if you can see, there is a sparkle in this, but this is Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. It is 79% acrylic, 20% wool, 1% polyester. I think that maybe, yeah, the polyester is this is Starlight, is the cream with the gold metallic. So I'm sure that polyester is the gold metallic part. But yeah, it's a number 6 bulky. Yeah, number 6, super bulky, and it was fun. And I mean, I did this much in, you know, a couple hours. So now, because the weather has gotten a little bit cooler, Sammy, what are you doing? Don't steal her toys. Because the weather has gotten a little bit cooler, blankets have been on my mind. And of course, you know, this is how I do things. I'm sitting at work or I'm driving, and all of a sudden something comes to mind, and then I have to make it. When I was growing up, my mom knitted, and she made a couple things and stuff. She didn't knit all the time, but she didn't know how to knit. But she didn't crochet. My aunt crocheted, and I remember she made us this blanket. We had a blanket that, you know, an Afghan sitting around the house for years and years and years that was like, it looked like little kitties. And it was like striped black, gray, and white. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, that must be a stitch. And so I was, a couple weeks ago, I think I was looking for this, and I looked up like cat blanket. I got a lot of different things that came up, but it wasn't a stitch, and it took me forever to realize, put in cat stitch. And once I did that, I found the cat stitch, and I decided to make a blanket with it. And I really didn't want to have to buy anything new because I have a ton of stuff. And I had this whole bag or box of all of the Crone blossom cakes that I bought over the summer. And I decided to use that, or some of it. Now I have the green color that I have 5 cakes, and I decided not to use that one because it is enough of a single color to make a top or something. The other ones, I had 2 of everything. Now the other ones that I had more, they're being worked up into tops now, the blossom one and then the purpley one. But I had some other ones that I had 2 cakes each, and one that I only had 1 cake. But I think it's only going to take 1 cake of each of the 4 colors I got, because I'm putting Super Saver Black in between. Super Saver Black is a little bit scratchy. I don't care, it will soften up and will last forever. So one thing that I bought is I bought some more Super Saver Black. But, you know, the Super Saver Black, I got 3 skeins for $10. So, yeah. And actually, I had some points or whatever. So it cost me $4 for those 3 skeins. So I already have this one. And then the other... So then I'm using the 4 blossom cakes I'm using. This is Azalea. Oh, and I'm so sorry you're not getting nice light with for the colors, but Azalea. This one is Radiant Rainbow. This is Caribbean Sea. And this is Dandelion. And this is how it looks so far. And I think it's looking really good. The blossom cakes are looking very sort of tie-dyed, the way it's coming out in the cats, and I think it's gonna be really cute. And it's gonna be really nice for my bed when I'm done. Now, when I was looking at, it's funny, when I was looking at the pattern, the description is that these are little paws hanging down. I've always seen them as tails. So when I look at it, I see tails, but I was showing it to my roommate, she sees paws. So I guess either way, they definitely look like kitties. So yeah, I started this on Thursday night, I think. And the cats are like, it's a 3-row repeat, and it's actually really easy. It's just the first row you have to do the tail part or the paw part or whatever you want to call it, and go down 2 rows below and pull up those stitches. But other than that, it's just double crochets. It's double crochets in a shell pattern, and doing it with, you know, contrasting colors really makes the cats like pop out. So yeah. And I think that is it. I felt like I pulled over a bunch of stuff. The only haul that I got is, as I said, I got a 3-pack of Super Saver black Super Saver yarn for that blanket. And I don't think that I will actually need the 3-pack, but that's how it was sold. And it was actually cheaper to get a 3-pack than to try and get just one. And you know, black yarn is never going to be a problem. And yeah, and then I ordered, as I said, I ordered some yarn to try on the knitting machine. But I will get that probably next week. So I think that's about it. That's all I have to show you this week. As I said, plans, more of the same. Just keep going on stuff that I've been working on, and keep chugging along. Yeah. The stitching retreat that I had signed up for is coming up at the beginning of November, but I am not going to go. I do not feel like I have the energy, the physical or mental energy for it. I did contact the person who's putting it on. I already paid for it, but it's fine. I asked if I could get the goodie bags or whatever sent to me. She said yes, because I did pay for them. And I think that I'm taking a couple days off of work that weekend to have a long weekend, but I think Lorraine and I are going to end up going to like a casino for a day or something. I just don't think physically that I'm up for sitting in one spot like that for a long time, and I'm not really up for it mentally either right now. So I just made that decision that I would rather have a little bit of a staycation, that I don't think that going to the retreat would be relaxing for me. I think it just would be a stressor in my life. So that's what I decided. And if anybody was planning on, you know, seeing me there, I'm sorry. If you're in this area, maybe we can get together for lunch or something, but yeah, it is what it is. That's, I think, what I need to do for my own personal mental health. But anyway, before I get all rambly, now that I made a, 40-minute video instead of my recent 20-minute videos, let me just say that I hope that you have a great week next week. Hope the weather is being nice and fall-y for you. It's still a little too hot for us here, for me personally, but we're getting there. It feels a little bit more like fall. Until I see you again, please remember to be content, be kind, and be crafty. This is Karla. Bye-bye.